Thank you. 2,190 days, is that what you said? 2,190 of the best days of Jeff Wensing's life, I'm going to tell you that. Good morning again, fellow delegates, staff, and guests. It truly is an honor to have this opportunity to give my report as OEA president one last time. My impending retirement has given me time to reflect on how I got here, starting with my decision to become a teacher. As a college history and political science major, I planned to go into law or a career in government because I wanted to make a difference. After spending a summer interning for my local member of Congress on Capitol Hill, I was disenchanted by the world of politics. I realized the best way to truly make a difference was by helping young people develop critical thinking, problem solving, and decision-making skills to become effective citizens in our democracy. 34 years after beginning my teaching career, I know I made the right decision. I learned quickly that making a difference in my profession meant getting involved in my local union and becoming an active member of OEA. The more involved I became, the more I understood how impactful our union could be. So as I prepare to end my 12-year journey as a full-time OEA officer, I've been reflecting on how far we've come together, the challenges we face, and the opportunities we have to improve the lives of our students, fellow members, and communities we serve. Here are 10 reflections on what I've learned along this leadership journey with all of you. Number one, the attacks on public education are real. You've all heard how seriously flawed the House-passed state budget bill is and how anti-public education political forces in Ohio, in combination with unprecedented attacks on education at the federal level, threaten to devastate our schools and communities. As Jeff's going to share further in his legislative report, the gutting of the Fair School Funding Plan and resulting $2.75 billion state funding shortfall will make it harder for us to meet the needs of our students, maintain reasonable class sizes, and attract and retain caring, qualified, committed educators into our profession. Continued expansion of vouchers takes resources away from the nearly 90% of kids who attend our public schools. A half-baked arbitrary cap on local budget reserves will make planning impossible and overwhelm voters with constant levy requests. Policies that dismantle diversity, equity, and inclusion programs undercut our ability to ensure safe, welcoming environments for all students and to build an education workforce that reflects the population we serve. The assault on higher education and weakening of collective bargaining rights makes it harder for all of us to be the advocates for the schools our students deserve. The list goes on. We know we have work to do. Number two, leadership development is core to our work. At every level of our organization, we're effective when we have strong leaders. And when I talk about leaders, I'm not just referring to people with titles. Marshall Gans defines leadership as taking responsibility for enabling others to achieve shared purpose under conditions of uncertainty. Each of us has the capacity to be a leader. The fact that you're here today demonstrates your willingness to lead. We maximize our power when we invest in identifying, recruiting, training, and supporting new leaders, and when we're intentional about distributing leadership across our organization. From our members leading protest actions, to new educators organizing membership drives, to teams using their boot camp skills to demonstrate the value of their union through bargaining, new leaders emerge every day across our state. As we continue to build leaders, we build the capacity to survive and thrive. Number three, unions are built for protection. A common trope about unions is that we exist to protect bad workers And you know that couldn't be further from the truth. Hardworking members choose to belong to OEA and their locals because they know we have their backs. So they're free to do the jobs they were trained and hired to do. With some politicians seeking to crush our ability to provide complete, honest education and meet the needs of all students, no matter their race, gender, family income, natural ability, sexual orientation, religious belief, or zip code, union membership has more value now than ever. It was mentioned last night. Just look at what we accomplished in NEA's huge legal victory 2 weeks ago that led to rulings repudiating the efforts of the U.S. Department of Education to weaponize its Office for Civil Rights and to restrict educators and administrators' curriculum and other educational programming decisions. This legal fight isn't over, but it reminds us of the many tools in our toolbox to protect the rights of members and students. Thanks to our NEA legal program, the website encouraging people to single out teachers for inclusive practices has been shut down. At least for now. You protect Ohio's educators every time you step in to enforce your contract or refer members for legal representation when needed. Never, ever walk away from protecting due process rights for everyone. Number 4, we are resilient. When you elected me as president 6 years ago, who could have imagined our world would be turned upside down by a global pandemic? It wasn't easy, but we found a way to survive and thrive under challenging circumstances because we did it together. 178 years after OEA's founding, we know that the educators who came before us have faced many challenges, from institutional racism to economic turmoil, to hostile political climates and internal divisions. But through it all, by remaining focused on our core mission of advocating for students, educators, and public education, we survived and grew. In OEA, we are not going away. Number 5, our power is local. Yes, OEA is the largest labor union in Ohio, but that's not where our power is. We build power at the local level. Throughout my time as an officer, I've never ceased to be blown away by what you do every day to make a difference for members and students. OEA provides support to our members in all kinds of ways: bargaining, representation, legal services, lobbying, communications, organizing, research, professional expertise, technology, grants, and all kinds of other stuff. But our ability to create positive change depends on what happens in our school buildings and in our work sites. Just last week, thousands of educators and concerned citizens flooded the grounds of the State House to demand fair funding for our schools. You did that. You did that. A truly grassroots effort organized by members like Columbus's Kelsey Gray, Southwestern's Emily Harding, and so many others of you in this room who did it with OEA support. Locally led actions from Jackson to Marietta to Youngstown are turning heads in this budget battle. We are investing in strong locals to increase OEA's collective power to build an Ohio where all students receive a high-quality public education and all members have the respect and support they need. It happens at the local level. Number 6, elections matter. The dizzying pace of change over the last 110 days should remind us how a single election can affect the day-to-day reality of our members and students. The outcome of a speaker's election, the margin of control in the House and Senate, the outcome of Supreme Court races, all profoundly affect public education. But elections don't just happen. We have far more ability to influence the outcome of elections than we realize. Educators are among the most trusted and respected people in every community. It's not enough just for members to vote their profession. We have to use our trusted voices to persuade our friends, family, and neighbors to vote for pro-public education candidates all up and down the ballot. You may be thinking about 2026 or 2028 as the time when we're going to reverse the negative backslide on issues we care about. But the election we should all be paying attention to is less than 6 months away, with school board elections in every single one of our communities. This is no time to sit on the sidelines. Recruit good candidates now. Run for office now. Organize now. And yes, give to the OEA Fund again now. Number 7, protecting democracy depends on unions. Most of us would never have imagined living in a time when principles such as the rule of law, due process, free speech, and other fundamental freedoms were so at risk. If we learn from other nations that have faced similar threats to democracy, it's clear that unions stand in the breach. According to a study published in the Journal of Global Security Studies that analyzed movements seeking democracy against authoritarian rule over the last half of the 20th century, 83% of those movements were successful when national trade unions helped lead them. Only 29% of those movements were successful without the unions. Looking at recent past, in places like Colombia, educator unions were especially influential in defeating authoritarianism through concerted, nonviolent, collective action. Will we be ready for the moment? Number 8, we can't win alone. Whether it's improving opportunities for students in the classroom, ensuring teachers and ESPs are paid fairly, attracting and retaining quality educators, or advocating for social, racial, and economic justice, we need partners and allies. Success comes through coalition work with parents, other unions, nonprofit organizations, the faith community, and others who share our value of public education. I'm proud of the work we've done over the last few years to build the All In for Ohio's Kids Coalition to advocate for fully and fairly funding our schools, and for all we've done to deepen relationships with groups like the Children's Defense Fund, Honesty for Ohio Education, the Network for Public Education Partners, the NAACP, the League of Women Voters, like-minded superintendents, principals, treasurers, and school board members, and so many others to build a unified force to fight for great public schools for every single student. These connections will be essential if we pursue a school funding ballot initiative. That work needs to be nurtured at the local level as well as statewide. Number 9, you've heard it a lot. I'll say it again. Public education matters. As I've been preparing to move at the end of my term, been sorting through piles of old memorabilia, photos, letters, and other stuff that I've collected over the years. In fact, board members had an opportunity to sort through my t-shirt collection yesterday, and Jason Shearer found one in particular that he liked. Not a pretty picture. But one thing that really was impactful to me was coming across a letter from my Uncle Mike Neal. He sent it to me in 2006, just a few years before he succumbed to a long battle with cancer. An educator himself, he was a dynamic leader, an incredibly kind human being, and one of my role models. At the time, I was about 15 years into my teaching career and had shared some columns that I had written in my role as a local and district leader. In writing back, he had this to say: "It is so important for people to realize that public education has been the foundation of the development of this democracy. Very few people today understand that. The reason we blew by Europe, Asia, and the rest of the world is we were the first to mass educate. Up to the time we did that, anywhere from 7 to 9% of our population could read and write their name. It was such a powerful idea that the masses could learn and that they did not have to have a certain amount of money to have access to learning was absolutely, profoundly revolutionary. The thing that is interesting to me," he wrote, "is that today we take public education so for granted and often are so critical of it, when in reality the reason that free enterprise worked, democracy has functioned, is we had a literate populace who could read, write, make decisions, and function effectively." Almost 20 years later, his words couldn't be more true. Our work in public education matters because we serve every student. And number 10, it's all about people. Legendary Buckeye coach Woody Hayes famously said, "You win with people." And I will tell you, you're all making me feel like a winner today. As we transition to a new president who I am confident is going to lead OEA to new heights and a new leadership team, I just want to say thank you to each of you for giving me this opportunity to serve in the best job anyone could ever ask for. To the members, thank you. To the members of the OEA board, past and present, thank you for always showing up to lead. To our district and local leaders, you're the backbone of this organization, and I will always appreciate your energy and dedication. To our staff and our managers who work so hard to ensure that members have the support they need, and particularly our executive management team, Erica, Brian, Christy, and Dan, our former executive directors, Cheryl and Patricia, for being such great thought partners and ensuring the strategic priorities of this organization are carried out. Thank you. To my fellow officers, Jeff and Rob, Becky, Mark, Tim, for your teamwork and friendship, thank you. I will never forget any of you. And to my family, it means so much to have my daughters, Katie and Christina, here with us today. Would you please stand up? So, as I've shared with many of you, Katie and Christina spent nearly 2 years teaching young children in Thailand. And they came back to Ohio last summer, and for much of the past year, they've been subbing in and around central Ohio. Christina has chosen to pursue a career in education. In fact, will be starting just next week her master's program at Ohio University in early childhood special education. Christina, before you leave, don't forget to grab one of those Aspiring Educator membership forms, fill it out. But Katie and Christina, to both of you, thank you so much for your patience with me. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your love. It is so good to have you with us today. And to my wife, Lauren. Your love and support and guidance has made me a better person. You've made me a better leader. You have reminded me every day about priorities, about integrity, about courage and strength and determination. Having you on this journey with me for the last 6 years has been unbelievable. I cannot wait to continue this journey with you as we build a new home together. I love you so much. Thank you. Each of you has played a role in shaping my journey. I will forever be grateful for giving me this opportunity of a lifetime. So before I close, one quick story. Earlier this year, Sarah Inama, a 6th grade social studies teacher in West Ada, Idaho, was ordered to remove a poster stating, "Everyone is welcome here," from her classroom wall because her administration somehow believed it violated a new state law against diversity, equity, and inclusion displays. With the backing of her union, she refused to remove the poster. And the flood of supportive messages from her community and all over the world has been overwhelming. A few weeks ago, supporters created and sold over 20,000 t-shirts with the poster's slogan and imagery supporting her cause. Last week, I had an opportunity to have a conversation with my friend, Idaho Education Association President Lane McAnally, who told me that IEA is pressing the district to explain exactly who is not welcome. Think about that. Tell me, name names. Who is not welcome if everyone is welcome here is an unacceptable message. People are standing up fearlessly in solidarity to fight for justice for our kids. This issue gets at the heart of who we are as public school educators and why we exist as a union. My friends, we must never stop fighting for an education system that serves all students in a democracy in which everyone's voice and fundamental rights are protected. OEA, now is the time for hope, not fear. And I continue to have hope for the future because indeed we are the right people at the right time, standing up for the right cause. This is our time, OEA. OEA, this is our time. You've got this. Thank you so much.